What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with Motorola Moto G Stylus 2022 tips and tricks and hidden features. So let's get started. Now with the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2022, we do get gesture-based navigation as the default. Now for most people, this is probably totally fine, but if you do like the traditional Android 3-button navigation, you can actually bring that back here. So let me show you how to switch to that. So what you're going to do is pull down the shade, you're going to go to the gear icon, which is the settings. So now that you're in the settings, you're going to go up to search, and then type in nav, and you'll see right there, system navigation. Go there once again, and now you'll see that, yes, we do indeed have gesture-based navigation enabled by default. And in fact, if you do want to customize this even further, you can go to the gear icon right here, to make some adjustments related to the sensitivity, or if you want to, you can of course switch over to 3-button navigation. So as soon as you tap on that right here, it will now switch the phone over to the traditional 3 buttons that you're probably used to with other Android phones that you've used in the past. So then from here, we can just use them as normal. So the middle button takes us home, the button on the left here takes us back, and then the button on the right is for the recent applications. Now I know that there are a lot of people who prefer this method of navigation compared to the gestures, and I totally understand that. But if you do want to go back to the gestures, you can do the same exact thing. Go to the shade, go to search, type in nav, and then you'll see that it takes us right back here. And then you can switch over to gesture-based navigation once again, and now we're back to normal. Now if you are used to 3-button navigation, I do recommend at least trying out gesture-based navigation, because who knows, you might end up liking it better. Now moving on, if you constantly find yourself switching your phone from having the ringer on to switching then to silent, you're definitely going to like this next tip here. So it's called flip for DND. So what you're going to do is pull down the shade, go to the gear for the settings, go to search, type in flip, let that load, and you'll see right there flip for DND. So essentially, when you enable this, it will turn on Do Not Disturb by just turning the phone's face down on a table or any other surface. So this isn't enabled by default, but once you're here, you can then enable it. And then now you just lay the phone face flat and it switches it over to Do Not Disturb. And then when you pick the phone back up, it switches it back to what you normally have it set as. Now you can do the same thing here whether the screen is on or off. Obviously, you're probably going to want to turn the screen off if you are doing this. So again, with the screen off, it works the same exact way. So definitely very convenient there. Now with the Moto G Stylus 2022, there is no battery percentage in the upper right corner by default. We do of course have the battery icon, but just by glancing at it, it's really difficult to know exactly how much battery is left in the device. So you can actually enable the percentage, and I'll show you how to do it right now. So you're gonna pull down the shade, you're gonna go to the settings, go to search, type in battery, and you'll see right there battery percentage. So tap on that, and then you'll see right here by enabling battery percentage, it will now show a battery percentage in the status bar. So now with that enabled, you can see we now have the percentage, and it doesn't matter where you are within the operating system here on the phone, you'll now get the percentage in the corner. And while we're at it, there's a couple of other awesome things in this battery menu. So one of them is battery saver. So if you find yourself getting low on battery, or maybe you're expecting a very long day of usage with no access to a power source, then you're definitely going to want to consider using battery saver. So essentially, once you go over to battery saver, you can enable this, and it will cut out all of the very unnecessary tasks that tend to use up a lot of battery life. Now, some of these tasks can be helpful to you typically if you have certain apps doing things in the background, for example, but if you just want the bare minimum core functionalities on your device, such as texting and phone calls and data as well, then you can just turn on battery saver, and then now you can see it's doing a lot of different things here in order to conserve the battery life. Now, if you end up having battery saver on and you plug the phone in to recharge, it will turn off battery saver when your phone is at 90%. So I definitely recommend trying this out, and especially if you find yourself constantly running low on battery, throughout the day, probably towards the end of the day, then you might want to consider enabling battery saver right from the beginning. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is two different ways to take a screenshot with the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2022. Now the first method to take a screenshot is pretty traditional. All you have to do is hold the volume down and the power button for about 2 seconds, and it takes the screenshot. Then from there you can edit it, share it, or just delete it. I'm going to delete it for now. But the other method, and this is actually enabled by default as well, and that's called 3-finger screenshot. So essentially, wherever you are, let's say I want to take a screenshot of this page, all I have to do is hold 3 fingers on the display for just a few seconds, and you can see it took the screenshot right away. So you can either use that method to take a screenshot, or you can just hold down the volume down and power button at the same time. It's really up to you, but it is nice that you can at least very easily take a screenshot with the phone. Oh, and also as a bonus, there's another method to take a screenshot as well, and what you do is you swipe up partially here, or go to your recent apps if you do have the 3-button navigation enabled, and you'll see a screenshot option right down below here. So you can go to screenshot, and it'll actually take a screenshot of whatever the recent app is that's pulled up on the phone. So that is another method of doing it. So if you are someone that likes to take screenshots, then there you go. Now, if you're looking for a fast and easy way to access the camera app at any time on the device, then this next trick I think is definitely going to come in handy, and that's called quick capture. Now with the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2022, this is enabled by default, and all you have to do is just move your wrist like that, and it will enable the camera. Now, since this is my first time doing this, you can actually choose between whatever camera app is already installed on the device. And in this situation, I have installed Snapchat and it considers it a camera app. So that's pretty awesome as well. I do kind of wish that you could just customize this for any app, whether it is a camera app or some other type of app, but at least you can do this with the camera app. So I'm going to do always for the camera, and we'll try this one more time. And there you go. Just by twisting my wrist like that, it pulls up the camera right away. And it doesn't matter where I am throughout the operating system, it will do the same thing. So that's definitely a very quick and easy way to access that. Now the next feature I want to show you is kind of similar in the sense that you have to do a gesture to enable it, but that's called fast flashlight. Now fast flashlight is also enabled by default on the phone, so you won't have to go into the menu to enable it. Now of course, if you don't want this feature at all, you can always disable it through the settings. You just search up fast flashlight. But essentially, if you move your wrist in a chopping motion, it will enable the flashlight on the phone. So definitely very convenient there, and what's nice about it too is that it is very reliable. So literally all you have to do is this, and it pulls up the flashlight. So definitely very convenient there. Now this next feature might be something that you could be familiar with already, but I know many people are not, and that is adjusting the screen timeout. Now by default, the screen will shut off after, I believe, 30 seconds by default. Now I have switched this for the sake of reviewing the phone. I put it at the maximum, but I just want to show you where this is. You're going to go to display, and then you'll see right here advanced, go there, and you'll see right here screen timeout. So again, I set this to 30 minutes because as I'm creating videos and other content about this device, I don't want the screen turning off on me, but I believe the default is actually 1 minute, but you can switch it to a shorter period of time, so 15 seconds or 30 seconds, or if you want to, you could even have it turn off after 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So you can see here, there's a lot of different options. So what I recommend doing is just trying out different screen out times to see which one best suits the way you use your phone. And also, while we're in this area of the settings, there's a few other things I want to show you. The first one is colors. So by default, this is how everything's set for the colors on the display. But if you want things to be a bit cooler, you can do that as well. If you want things warmer, that's another option. You can have things be more natural if you want, or saturated, which is the default here. Now, I'm pretty happy with the default personally, but at least you can go here and kind of change things up if you want to try out a different look on the display itself. Another awesome one too here is called Stylus. So you'll see right there, Stylus, tap on that. And we actually have some different options when it comes to the colors of the different icons. So when you pull down the shade, for example, if you want it to be darker blue or maybe this magenta tone, you can choose that as well. You can also create custom themes too. So another way to customize your device even further, you can also adjust the refresh rate. Now that is one of the better features with the Moto G Stylus 2022 is that they did introduce a 90 Hz refresh rate, which you can see here is the smoothest, but it does consume the most battery. Now by default, it is set to auto, so the phone will actually pick which situations it's going to run at 60 Hz versus 90. But if you do want to essentially have it be forced to do 90 at all times, you can pick that, or you can also have it just do 60 Hz at all times as well. If that's something you really don't care about, then maybe just do that and you'll at least be able to save a little bit of battery life with the phone. Now the next thing I want to show you is kind of a hidden menu, and that is that if you long press on the home screen here, you'll see that we have some different options such as home settings, widgets, wallpaper, and styles. And I already showed you styles a little bit ago, but also wallpapers of course, and then widgets, but also the home settings really does give you some different ways to even further customize your experience with the phone. So the first one is notification dots. So by default with the phone, if you get a notification for a certain app, there will be a dot in the corner. You can disable that if you want to. Or if you want to, another option is to increase the icon size on the device. That could be helpful if you want bigger icons. You can also change up the home screen style. So if you don't want an app drawer, you don't have to have one. You can actually have all apps show up on the home screen. I personally like having the app drawer because it helps me stay organized, but if you don't want it, you can get rid of it. You can also allow the home screen to be rotated, so we'll give that a try. You just have to make sure that rotation is enabled, and then now, after enabling that, you can see that I can actually go through the entire interface here, including the app drawer and home screens in landscape if I want to. So anyway, those are just some interesting modifications you can make to possibly improve your experience when using the phone. And then the final thing I want to show you are some customizations that you can make to the keyboard on the device. So by default, you can see here that we do have numbers up top, but it is kind of mixed in with the other letter keys. Now you can go in the corner to get to the number keys, but if you want to, you can add a dedicated row right up top here. So what you'll do is go to this gear for the settings. This will take you to the keyboard settings for the device. Go to preferences and you'll see right there number row. So enable that, and then now you'll see on the keyboard that there is a dedicated number row. And also in this section, you can change up the theme for the actual keyboard itself. So you can add a photo as the theme. You can also add your own, create your own theme. You can pick different colors as well. Maybe I want the keyboard to be blue. That's now enabled. We'll see how that looks. And there you go. It looks a little bit different there. So yet another way to further customize the phone so that it's exactly personalized to the way that you want it to be. But this concludes my tips and tricks video for the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2022. If you liked the video, then definitely give it a thumbs up. But I hope you found these things to be helpful, and enjoy your phone.